Hello my small fat adaptive family and welcome back to the Keto Kitchen. Week 7 of the Great British Bake Off is Festival Week, and this week took us all around the world. The signature was festival yeast buns. A few contestants stayed British by doing sort of adaptations of our Easter hot crust buns, but some of the festival yeast buns took us to places like Sweden and even Bulgaria. The technical took us to Italy, where we saw them make Cassetelle, and the showstopper was kek lapis, which is an Indonesian cake. This week was quite easy for me. The festival buns were something I could have done, but I don't have much experience with keto-friendly yeasts, nor would I be able to get some within the time frame from writing the recipe to recording it. And yes, I could make them without the yeast. I could make keto hot crust buns and flavour them and such, but I find it's a bit boring, isn't it? It's nothing out of the ordinary doing keto buns. It's been done 100 times before, and with this series, as I said, I like to jazz it up a little bit and get a bit intricate and a bit fancy. And the kek lapis sriracha had my attention, right, because it is cake that you put really thin layers in the cake pan and you grill them layer by layer so that you get these different colours and you can cut it into shapes and pretty designs and stuff. Absolutely had my attention for that, but that was also partly why I didn't want to do it. But that wasn't the main reason. The main reason was the amount of ingredients used. Did you see all of the eggs that they were using? It was like a catering sized tray of eggs, and not to mention that they had like mountains of oranges just for the zest. Now, I tried to keep my options open this week, but honestly, the moment I saw in the preview from last week that they were doing something deep fried, and then I saw in the description that it was something Italian, it absolutely had my attention. But it absolutely wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be panzerotti, which is basically like a deep fried calzone. If you don't know what a calzone is, it's just a pizza turnover. But alas, it was not panzerotti. It was a sweet deep fried pastry that I will be ketofying this week. So for week 7 of the Great British Bake Off, I will be ketofying chocolate and ricotta cassatelle. This will consist of a dough made with almond and coconut flour. It will be filled with a ricotta and dark chocolate filling, and of course it will be deep fried. A few notes before we start. Firstly, make sure you go and check out Ginger's Great British Bake Off series. Without her fantastic idea of ketofying these recipes, I wouldn't be up here getting frustrated at the simplest things in front of you. Number 2, this is not a fathead recipe today. I just wanted to clarify that because it's very well known that when breads and pastries and things come up, I, like that, go to fathead. I wanted to do something a little bit different today and experiment a little bit. As always, I have not made this recipe before. I watch the episode when it airs, I write a recipe that evening, I go to bed. I get up, I get ingredients, I record in front of you. So if the recipe fails, you get to see all of that on camera. And with all that out of the way, let's get cooking. So we're going to start with the filling first. In front of me, I have a muslin cloth. I'm not actually using a muslin cloth, I'm using a cheesecloth that actually came off of cheese. I've just made sure it's nice and clean. The thing with cheesecloth is it's a lot thinner, the mesh is a lot tighter. It shouldn't really make a difference because we're doing this to make sure we can get liquid out of our ricotta to make it nice and smooth. So muslin cloth, ricotta, string, pretty deep bowl, and a spoon that will fit over that bowl comfortably. You want to take your ricotta and put it in the middle of your cloth. Then you want to grab the ends and bunch them up together. Take your string, mine's way too long, and tie it around that cloth. Try and get it as tight to the ricotta as you can. This is quite fiddly, like so. I'm going to cut this string because it's just a little bit too long, and what the idea is I want this hanging, so I only want as much string for it to be hanging. You take your spoon and you tie it around the spoon. Once that's securely tied and hanging, pop it in your bowl and leave it to hang. That's actually not a deep enough bowl. Just wondering if I can do the same with a glass. Yeah, I can. Okay, I'm going to hang it in a glass. Why not? There you go. I'm just going to give it a real quick squeeze. Just try and get some of that liquid out now. Be gentle if you squeeze because you don't want to burst the muslin. And then that just gets popped to the side while we start our dough. For the dough, I have my almond flour, and I'm going to add my coconut flour my xanthan gum, my sweetener, and my zest. And then that's just going to get a good stir. Once you're happy that that's nice and well combined, you're going to add all of your wet ingredients. So in goes the egg, your butter, which I've melted down a little bit, the oil, the apple cider vinegar, and if you're using it, the vodka. Then first thing we're going to do is just give that a nice beating, get those ingredients well combined. Then when it's sort of just a crumbly mixture, at this point I would highly suggest you get your hands involved and you knead it until it's silky smooth. Then once that's nice and well combined, you want to get some cling film, or I believe Americans call it saran wrap. Cut enough of that so that you can fit your dough in it. Wrap it up and pop it in the fridge for a minimum of 30 minutes or up to 24 hours. Our dough's been in the fridge for about 10 minutes now, and we're just going to start with what we need to do with the ricotta. So your ricotta's been sat here draining, just give it another little squeeze again. Be careful not to split the muslin. You're going to undo the string, you're going to open up your muslin, and what we're going to do with this ricotta is we're going to put it through a sieve 3 times. The reason we're doing this is that ricotta is known for being quite lumpy, and we want it nice and smooth and creamy, so putting it through a sieve just smooths it out quite a bit. So sieve 3, and it is a little bit smoother, but it's still got that iconic ricotta grain to it. So to be honest, that kind of felt like a waste of time. You've got to try these things. With our ricotta now massively reduced in size and ever so slightly smoother, we're going to add our other filling ingredients, which are of course your powdered sweetener. I'm just going to mix this in first because there's some lumps. I just want to break those lumps down immediately. Then you want to add your orange zest and your chocolate and give that all a really good mix. The filling is as simple as that. So this will now get put in the fridge until we need it. So our dough has now chilled for half an hour and it's ready to go into the next step. The first thing I'm going to do is get my coconut flour, make sure my surface is nice and dry, and give a really healthy dose of coconut flour to the top of my work surface. Then I'm going to get my dough, and what I'm going to do is basically split it in half. Half of it will go on my work surface, the other half will go back into the fridge until we need it. So with this dough, I'm just going to squash it just a little bit with my hands first, like so. I'm going to put it on there, and I've got a sheet of parchment paper that is going on the top. This is going to get rolled into sort of a rectangle that is about 1/4 inch thick. You want it nice and thin, but not so thin that it's breaking. Once you're happy with the thickness all over, you want to take whatever you're using as a dough cutter and you want to basically cut circles into it, like so. Now my fear is I can already see that this is quite crumbly. Seems like it might just be alright though. Oh yeah, oh, it's cracked in half. Okay, so that doesn't work like that. This dough is not pliable enough. I'm going to get that other piece of dough out and mould these two back together. We'll do it as one big one. Split that in half. You've got 2. Split that in half. You've got 4. Split those in half. You've got 8. Should we do 8 or should we do, let's have a look at the size. No, let's split them again into 16. So I'm just going to kind of squidge them into rough balls. So I'm going to get my mixture out of the fridge, and what I'm going to do is take one of these balls and flatten it. Then I'm going to take just a little spoon and spoon on some of that mixture, and then I'm wondering if I can just maybe like dumplings, just bring this up and pinch it. Okay, we've got too much mixture already. Can we just, no, because it's falling apart. What to do, what to do, what to do. This week was quite easy for me. I wouldn't be up here getting frustrated at the simplest things in front of you. I wanted to do something a little bit different today and experiment a little bit. So if the recipe fails, you get to see all of that on camera. I've had some time to evaluate what I'm going to do here, because I realised this dough just isn't pliable enough. It isn't. And the problem is, it's a really nice dough. It's really soft and chewy, and to be honest, if I added a little bit of almond extract to this, I've got marzipan, like bang on marzipan. Beautiful. But in terms of this week, nothing has flopped like this. But I really just don't want to throw away ingredients. So I've gone through a couple of thoughts in my head, and I realised there's not really much I can do. So these aren't Cassatelles. They are sweet dough balls, hopefully. Basically, what I have here is the base to my air fryer. So let's whack these in the air fryer, and I'm going to whack them in at 170 for 5 to 10 minutes, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, 5 minutes in the air fryer, turned them, gave them a spray with coconut oil, another 5 minutes, and we've got these lovely golden brown balls. The middle of them is like soft and doughy. They taste like dough balls. Yeah, it's really nice. It's just not Cassatelle. But you know the old saying, when life gives you lemons, make keto dough balls? I'll be honest with you, you're not getting this recipe. You're not even getting the macros, because, well, I thought my rose cake was the lowest I could go, but nope. Apparently, making Cassatelle. I hope you join me next week for the quarter-final, which is pastry week. With that being said, that's all for this video. Leave a like if you found it interesting, insightful. Subscribe if you're inclined. Any questions, any comments, any queries, anything down below. Keep calm, keep on. Thanks for watching.